Hi, everybody. It's Andra and Ed again. I hope you're all having an amazing Saturday. I'm here with Brandi Kepley, and she is a co-author in the upcoming book on health and wellness, Unstoppable Women in Health and Wellness. But she's also a mom of a beautiful dog and a wife and a podcaster and an Arbonne consultant. So we tend to stay very busy. So I just wanted to spend some time with her and have you get to know my new co-author, Brandi Kepley. So how are you, Brandi?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So tell me about yourself, because you have all these things going on. So tell me what life is like for Brandi.
Oh gosh, yes, I do have a lot going on, like you said. I'm a wife. We've been married. We celebrated our second anniversary in September. I have two dogs. They're both rescue pups, and then we've also rescued a cat recently as well. So I'm just a sucker for the sweet fur babies. They mean a lot to me, and so I do have a blog and a podcast, and I'm an Arbonne consultant as well. So Arbonne's a health and wellness company. There's over 350 products. They range from nutritional products to skincare, body care, makeup. They're all vegan, all gluten-free. There's over 2,000 ingredients that are banned from Arbonne's products. So it's free of artificial sweeteners, dyes, fragrances, colors. There's so many things that are banned from it. So it's a very great, clean, holistic company. And so I'm very passionate about sharing those and just why it's so important to know what you're putting on and in your body and how that affects your mental health and your physical health and just how that all really coincides. So my blog and my podcast are both called Unfinished Grace. So that's a community that I started about a year ago. And it really stemmed from my struggle with depression and anxiety. I also struggle from PTSD as well. And so that really stemmed from that. And I just felt God saying, like, I want you to share what you have been through. Because I had a great family, I have people that love me. I have support, but it was still really hard. That doesn't mean that it was just all a pretty perfect picture. And so it was definitely external circumstances. It was definitely chemical. It was definitely spiritual warfare. There was a lot that went into that. And it's definitely something that I am working on every single day. It's not just, I'm just magically healed from that. But I'm just super passionate about sharing my story and just in hopes that somebody can identify with it and just know that they're not alone and just be encouraged by that, but also educate people on the fact that they have options, just the importance of counseling and community and nutrition and fitness and self-care and just all of those things incorporated into one, because they really do all intertwine and they really do all affect one another.
I love that, what you're doing, and I can identify because I kind of think I was bipolar growing up. I know I know that I suffered from severe depression, like severe highs and lows, but they never labeled it. But I knew, like I know now, and before I lost all the weight and like my gut health and everything, I have several autoimmune diseases. And my diet wasn't good. I wasn't healthy. I was eating on the run all the time as a nurse. We don't sit down, we don't eat, we don't do any of those things. And I know that when I wasn't eating right, I was depressed. Like I just didn't have joy like I have today and laugh like I do today. It was just work and home and, isolation. And I was a very different person. So I know that the role that nutrition and really putting everything in your body does, and the spirituality that you mentioned, it's big. It's a big part. So I love what you're doing because, not too long ago, people weren't coming out and really sharing their story. And there's a lot of people going through that, and maybe they just feel like they're the only ones. And with the stigma around mental health, so many people aren't really sharing. And it's hard enough to go through when you do have a good support system, but it's so much harder when you don't. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, and I think I specifically want to identify with other Christians because I again, I love my family. I have amazing family. I have so much, so many people, friends and family that love me and wanted to support me but didn't know how. Because I was raised in just pray about it, and just that maybe you don't have enough faith in God, and that you don't really believe that he's going to take care of you if you're really this anxious and depressed. And that's just absolutely not true. That's lies from the enemy. And so they just were not able to support me and to help me in that, and that's really difficult. And to be like, I still love you because you're my family, but knowing that they can't help me, then I have to seek that elsewhere, and I have to be bold enough to reach out and to get help on my own, and to like build my own community, because having people and having a support system is absolutely vital. And yeah, I mean, not everybody has that, and it's important to have people outside of your family as well. So I'm really passionate about stigmas within family units and within the church, because there are a lot of things that we're told, like, that medication isn't okay, which is absolutely not true. I believe that God can absolutely heal, but I think that medication is a tool that he uses, as well as counseling, and just all of these different things of prioritizing our self-care, because again, it really is all connected, and it really is all important. And so I'm just really passionate about just identifying with young women, especially because life is really hard, and our culture does not really identify with a lot of these things. It's focused on hustle culture and just go, go, go and do. And we were not created to operate like that. So I really want to identify with those people and just know that they're not alone, and that not to discount what they're feeling and what they're going through, because it is real, but they don't need to stay there. They need to be proactive and seek help. And I want to give them the tools to do that, and just share my experience and what has helped me.
A lot of people, it's very unfortunate, that your family didn't understand because of the way you were raised, but there is stigmas out there. We're aware of them. I personally don't agree with them, but I want to say that there's so many more issues today than there ever has been. And a lot of it is because of those stigmas and it not being addressed, and people really not seeking that help. I applaud you for seeking that help, and I know that I work with teen youth, and I know that I'm seeing more anxiety and more depression and more talks of suicide and suicide ideation today than I think I ever have in the time that I've worked with them. So it's very sad. So, we do have a mental health professional on staff to really see that they get that, because they don't always get it at home, like you said. So they need to know that they're supported and it's okay. And they need to learn coping skills to help them get through that now, So it's not easy. It doesn't matter. You see it a lot in the young, but you see depression a lot in the elderly too, because they have to adjust to not having enough income and finding new locations. So you see depression and anxiety through every area of your life, every decade, every span, people are suffering. And hopefully you coming out and sharing your story will give people a voice. So I applaud you again for doing that, to really feel okay to say, hey, I have a problem. Can you direct me somewhere where I can get that help?
Yeah,
to know that they have someone to talk to that actually identifies with them. And you don't necessarily have to have the same thing. Like everybody might not have PTSD or depression or anxiety, but they're going through things, and just to have a support system where they can try to get those answers, like what's going on. Because a lot of these things are caused by hormonal imbalances and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So those medications sometimes are necessary. And I'm not a big fan of medication. I mean, I take one at 55 years old, I take,
Mm-hmm.
but I have so many other supplements and vitamins and stuff. So,
Right.
I do my own thing. But if you need it, you have to take it. You don't,
Mm-hmm.
so then I can absolutely justify it. So like in the elderly pop, you see a lot of medications that they really don't need, calcium
Mm-hmm.
at 96 years old, the pills are this big, you know what I mean? Or they're not going to
Yeah.
regrow bone or anything like that. So that I don't, applaud. But if you need something that's going to make you better and help you live a better quality life, then I'm
Mm-hmm.
absolutely for it,
Yeah, absolutely. I am an advocate of medication, but what I really just want to stress to people is that they absolutely have options. I think for so long, I didn't really realize that I had options and what those options were. So many young teen girls are just put on birth control medication and they don't know really the whole side effects of that, what that does. They just want to get rid of their acne, or they want to get rid of their menstrual cycles or something like that, and that has a big effect on your body. It also, whatever you put on top of your skin absorbs into your bloodstream and has access to the rest of your vital organs in 26 seconds. So when you think about all of the products that you use, from cleaning products to hair care and body care and makeup, and the list goes on and on and on. Like, what is in that you are putting on your skin, and is that something you want absorbed into your bloodstream? And so quickly too. And then you think about all the
side
things
effects.
that all the things that we consume, that we eat and drink, that have been sprayed, and are they organic? Are they non-GMO? What does that even mean? Why is that important? I think it's just, for so long, I didn't know what that all was and what that meant. And the more I started to do research and the more I learned, the more my mind was just so blown. And I'm like, we are not taught this. And that does affect hormones. It affects, leads to different, diseases and things like that. I love that you focus a lot on nutrition, because that's not something that we are often taught a lot. We're taught in school that food pyramid, but
Which is so off the wall, and
exactly,
it's
it is
crazy.
so wrong. We aren't getting enough protein, and there are certain vitamins and certain nutrients that if we are not eating good food, that we're not getting. Processed food, we're not getting the nutrients that we need, which can lead to a lot of feelings of depression or anxiety, or being tired and weak. And I could just go on and on. And again, we're just not taught these things. And so yeah, I think it absolutely is true, just to be aware, no matter what age you are, but especially in your teens, 20s, 30s, because you hopefully have a lot of life left, and that can really be what you do now can really impact your life, as well as your kids' lives and your grandkids' lives. So I think it's just really important to be educated. And I think to some degree, my generation wants to be educated. They're just so, they just don't know how. And they think that it's hard to figure information out, and they don't know who to trust, maybe sometimes too. And so I think it's just really important that we do our own research, and that we are just advocates of ourselves. We can listen to our doctors and stuff, but ultimately we have the decision of what we do, what we take. And I just think that that's really important. And a lot of people just need that reminder.
You got to advocate for yourself too. That was my first
Mm-hmm.
book's whole chapter, all about how they're
Yeah.
just people. Well, a lot of it, that was my message, to really advocate for yourself. So yes, you do have to do that research, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of good information out there if you know where to look. There's a lot of not credible sites. You know, a lot of people I know are like really big into Google, let me Google this, but those Google things, you know, and it's funny, I can laugh about it now, but I mean, many years ago, even when we were in nursing school, we had to do a lot of research, and they made us know how to see if the site was credible or not, you know, so that we knew that the information that we were actually collecting was reliable information, because having a wealth of knowledge that's not good information doesn't make you any smarter. So I agree with you. So all those things that you were talking about are we call them obesogens. They have a name. They're everywhere. Those chemicals and everything that you eat, you know, and that you ingest, and all the stuff you topically use. So they're called obesogens because they do make you sick, and they are toxic, and they do affect your hormones very, very radically. So I talk about it all the time. I'm everywhere telling people the truth about health, whether or not, you know, I guess because all of my groups and everything are free, you know, people don't, you know, say, well, you know, why is she doing this? I know that I have to do it because I was one of those people that were victims to all that misinformation. And I know what it's like yourself, to really look for that information and not have that support. And I was going to doctors. I'm around doctors all the time, but they make mistakes too. So you do have to listen to your body. You do have to know your body. And, you know, that's why they talk about like intuitive eating and, you know, doing things intentionally, because the more you do that, the more you'll understand what's going on, and you'll know when something's off, you know? I mean, I know when something's off in my body right away. It never used to be like that, you know? I was one of those people that was always tired. I was always, you know, waking up tired, and I had a lot of pain, all the things I don't have today. So I do know the impacts of nutrition and supplements and all those things. It makes a world of difference. And I don't suffer from the depression either. So that it all ties in. So yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to read your upcoming chapter. You know, it's nice. I feel really great about being in these stories and really getting to share what personal stories that we've gone through, so that people know that they're not alone. Because I think a lot of us do feel like we're alone when you're in the thick of it, you know, and you don't see a way out. And sometimes just seeing, like, you know, I love a good story disappearing into someone else's life. You know, I'm always reading. And I think that when you see somebody else having something that you aspire to, and knowing how they got there, I think it makes it easy. They say, you know, the 5 people you're around are the people that you're most likely to become. So surround yourself with good people, and, you know, things like that. And I think that's true. I think it holds a lot of truth, you know. So
I agree.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, you know, like I'm a big advocate of, you know, being around a community is everything. I mean, like you said, you know, you will become the people that you are spending time with. And so that's why I'm a big advocate of, you know, choosing wisely and spending time with the Lord, since that is something that is passionate to me, you know, because whoever I'm spending my time with is who I'm going to become more like. And so it is hard, because we do have, especially with technology and different things like that, there's a lot of barriers that kind of separate us from really building the relationships that we were created to build. And so I think it's all the more important just to really be intentional about that. Social media is great. Like, I obviously wouldn't have ever had the opportunity to be in the She Rises Studios books had I not found them on social media. And, you know, we've been connected and stuff. So social media is great. It can be a great tool to meet people and to keep in touch with people. But I really just being with one another face to face, having coffee together, just chatting and just doing life together, I think is really important, because we are all relational beings. I mean, I'm an introvert. And so,
Me
but
too.
even, yeah, even,
Me
even if
too.
you're not, like, you have to have time, to yourself, but even us introverts need to spend time with people, just to be, just to know that we're not alone, like you said, and just to be encouraged by one another, and learn from one another, learn from each other's experiences. I think that in and of itself is just so powerful.
I think it's important to not just to, I think it is important to spend time alone, to really listen to, your own dreams and aspirations, and really, step into that, so you know what you're aspiring to. But I've always been someone who enjoys time alone. Maybe that's not a
Me
good
too.
thing. Like, people used to say to me, you're always, you spend so much time alone. And I really enjoyed it. I'm very comfortable by myself.
Sure.
But I think you're absolutely right. You have to be out more, and especially on social. People want to feel that connection, and they want to see what you're doing and where you're going. But quite honestly, I spend most of my life at work either.
Right.
So there's not a lot of time. So I'm very selective of that time. Like today,
Absolutely.
today we went out, we were talking earlier, I went out, I did my shopping, did all that stuff I need to do for that big family day, and I things like that. I spent some time with my husband, my dog, and you need that time with family also, because social media can be a little overwhelming. You need to step back and breathe sometimes. So that too. But I'm working on
Absolutely.
getting out more and doing more. I have a friend that I grew up with. We travel everywhere together. So it's almost time for a road trip. We just get in the car and go, and just, that's what we do when we have time off, So
Yeah, that's fun. It's definitely all about balance. And I don't think balance is ever anything that we ever achieve. It's just a constant thing. We all, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, I think it absolutely is important to have time, just to decompress, have, time, like you said, thinking about, our dreams and our aspirations, and, what we really want to do with life, what's going to make us happy and bring us joy, what are our priorities. And then, if you are a believer, like spending time with the Lord and things like that. But also it is really important, because we were created to spend life with one another. So, if you want to have a ton of friends, I have a friend who's super extroverted, and she is like filling her time with seeing people all the time. And I'm like, just talking about that exhausts me. I'm like, I can't. I have a few, 3 or 4 people who I'm really close with, and that's who I spend, most of my time with. And so that's okay too. Different personalities are different, but it's both are important, spending time with yourself and then spending time with people. And I think especially when it comes to anxiety and depression, if that's something that you struggle with, it's important to have people, because sometimes it is literally and physically not safe to be alone, not good to be alone. And so sometimes, even when you don't want to spend time with people, just being with people, and just knowing that somebody does love you and that you are important to people, that's really important.
Yes, everybody wants to feel loved, and everybody wants to feel needed. I mean, we are social people. I mean, we are here to make those connections, like you said. And if you're spiritual, of course you want to spend time with that. The first thing I do in the morning, my foot doesn't even hit the floor before I say thank you. So that's just that's just who I am, and I ask for his guidance throughout the day. But so I'm going to just ask you, what's next for you? So you're doing all this stuff, and you're writing this book. Are you going on to write some more books?
So that's eventually the goal later on down in life. But right now I am also, so that's what I'm doing the forefront. That's what I do online, but also here locally where I live, I also do a whole bunch of other things. I nanny and I clean houses, and I do a whole bunch of other things basically to just fund my ministry at this point. But my husband and I are working on meeting some goals so we can start a family soon. And so the goal, the big goal here soon is to do my ministry work and then to do Arbonne from home and stay home with kiddos and do that. They're kind of all in a growing phase still. And then now that we're doing this book, I definitely hope to, do more and just, expand my audience and reach more people. But they're all kind of small things that are all kind of collaborating together. And so I hope to build them all up so they can sustain our family and be like the one thing that I do. So.
No, but just, it's a process, and I just want to say, just keep your eyes on what your prize, what that means for you, and just little steps every day, you'll get there before you can get anywhere you want to get, as long as you keep taking those baby steps, you really can.
Yeah.
It's not always easy because, you see, especially online, you hear a lot of people out there saying they're making, $3 million a month, and you can't, just like ridiculous stuff. You got to stay in your own head and stay in your own lane, and don't worry about what other people's doing, because what they're doing in their life, it might not align with who you as a person, either is spiritually, or just as, a person in general. It just might not be for you. So you just have to do what you do. When I first came online, I hated doing videos. So I do all these interviews so that it's not about me. I'm talking about someone else, and it kind of gets me out of that head with, showing up, in the videos. So everybody has a process. It took me a long time just to do that. So, just do what you can do, and you're providing so much value in all the things you are doing, showing up intentionally and being there for other people and providing value, just sharing your story, that there is hope and there is help. It means a lot to a lot of people. So I for one, I'm glad you're out there doing it. It's going to make my job easier.
Thank you for that encouragement.
It certainly will. So I am going to share all your links and everything so people know how to get in touch with you. Awesome. I look forward to getting to know you better after, through the book and after the book. I mean, it launches next month in case anybody's interested. It's December 13th. It launches. And the authors from all the books that we're in, we tend to get together and start our own groups and collaborate together and do other things. Yeah. So we're going to drag you into, we're not letting you out of this, okay? We are building our own community too, of women supporting women, not about personalities and catty, petty nonsense, just women, just really helping each other and being there for people. It's principles before personalities. You know what I mean? So that's what we're really trying to do here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I really enjoyed this talk with you. Is there anything you want to say to the audience before you leave, where they can find you? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will give you the links that you can share with everybody, but I'm on Instagram. It's just Unfinished Grace, and it is a little bit of everything, of all the things that I do, personal things, the blog, the podcast, Arbonne, the book now, all of that stuff's on there. I also have a Facebook group. It's called Prioritizing Wellness with Brandi, and we just talk about in every aspect of our lives and every aspect of health, just how to just be the best that we can be, and just every day is a new day, and just to be encouraging one another. So those are the places that I hang out the most. I am on LinkedIn and on Pinterest, but those are the places that I hang out the most for sure.
Okay, I do have your links. Sometimes because I don't end when I end the live, it doesn't close right away because it's uploading. So it doesn't allow me to post it till afterwards. I'm getting better at this. It's still a learning process. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. I'm going to post your links, and then I'm going to repost it if it doesn't work out quite so well. And okay, so just hang out for a minute. I'm going to end this, guys. Thanks for listening. We're so glad that you guys are out there doing your own thing and living your life, and to your help. Okay, so that live.